Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Kincardine at 5 o'clock on July 8th, 2026 in the Council Chambers at the Municipal Administration Center. Roll call this evening, Deputy Mayor Hinchberger.
Present.
Councillor Blackwell.
Present.
Councillor Kavanagh.
Present.
Councillor Monroe.
Present.
Councillor Prenger. Councillor Steinhoff-Gray.
Present.
Councillor Stewart.
Present.
Councillor Williams.
Present.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. I'm going to share the land acknowledgement that I gave at our Canada Day celebration for the month of July. So as we're gathering together this month and celebrating Canada, I want to acknowledge and give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash Unceded First Nation, now known collectively as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. We recognize their enduring connection to these lands and waters and honor their stewardship since time immemorial. Canada's story is inseparable from this land and from the treaties that helped shape our country as we know it today. The founding and growth of Canada depended on agreements between Indigenous nations and the Crown, agreements founded on promises of mutual respect, shared responsibility, and peaceful coexistence. While those commitments have not always been fulfilled, causing hardship and injustice, the treaties remain living agreements that continue to define our shared responsibilities today. As we celebrate the many freedoms, opportunities, and diversities that make Canada our home, we also take time to reflect honestly on our shared and complex history, recognizing that a stronger future is built not by overlooking the past, but by learning from it. As treaty partners, we all have a role in advancing reconciliation, not only through words, but through understanding, respect, and meaningful action. Together, let us honor the spirit and intent of the treaties as we continue building a more just, inclusive, and hopeful community for generations to come.
All right, amendments, additions, or deletions to or from the agenda. Are there any of those from any council members? Councillor Kavanagh, please. Yeah, we need a mover and seconder that council approve.
I'd like to move that the Kincardine Hospital Foundation delegation and check presentation be added to the agenda, please.
Seconded by Councillor Williams. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. I'd like to remind any councillors to disclose a pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof either now or as it occurs during the meeting. Councillor Williams.
I'll declare on 7.2A Kincardine Classics due to an indirect interest in my children's membership of the club.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Thank you. I need to declare on the same item, 7.2, due to my son's participation in their programming.
And I would like to declare on 7.2B, my daughter is one of the directors of the Ag Society. All right, we need a mover and seconder that the minutes of the council meetings held June 24, 2026 be adopted as printed. Moved by Councillors Monroe and Deputy Mayor Hinchberger. All in favor? That's carried. We move on to delegations. And tonight we welcome Drew Robertson, who has a request regarding access to Inverhuron Beach at County Road 15. So as per the procedure bylaw, we can ask questions to clarify an issue, but we either thank Mr. Robertson or we refer it to staff for some further review. So Drew, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for allowing me the time on your agenda. So good evening, I'm Drew Robertson. I'm from Inverhuron, and I'm here to request that that this thing works. That council authorized reopening the access to Inverhuron Beach at the foot of County Road 15. So why is it not open? Rocks were dumped in 2020 when the water level was exceptionally high to protect against erosion. The way the rocks were dumped made the beach inaccessible, so they were just dumped out of trucks randomly. They weren't placed, they're just dumped. There was an understanding that those rocks would be removed when the lake level receded. So why should it be reopened? Well, for one, the lake levels have now receded. And there's sand beach now between the end of the rocks and the water. And there's sand beach that goes a couple of 100 yards south from there, and of course a couple kilometers north from there. So currently the rocks are very, very dangerous, and the current barrier was really ineffective. People were using it as a gate. It was a temporary barrier, and it was nice light aluminum, and people would just swing it aside and walk through and stumble through the rocks. They were basically using it as a gate. So a good reason to have it reopened is access to the beach at Denver Huron has always been fairly limited. Even when that access was open, which it was for many, many decades. And at the bottom of County Road, the access is one of the two most valuable. There's parking there, there's a park there, there's picnic tables there, there's what we have for a washroom, which is a porta potty. And did I say parking? Parking's fairly important. And there's swings and stuff for the kids. And the final reason for it to open is it's very hazardous, and somebody's going to get badly hurt if some action isn't taken. So what do I think should be done? There were about a dozen residents that also dumped the same rocks to protect their property. And every single one of them have managed to create a pathway through those rocks. Most of them by rearranging the rocks so there were flat rocks to be able to walk through. And some have actually removed a strip of rocks. In the access a few hundred meters north, the local resident opened up the walkway. So he pulled the rocks back a couple of feet, and so you can get through that access. And he rearranged the rocks in front of his cottage to make a nice walkway down to the beach. So in my thinking, the best option would be for the municipality to rearrange the rocks as the local residents have done to create a safe passage to the beach. One of the advantages of that versus removing them is it retains the erosion protection feature that it currently has if someday in the future the water were ever to rise to that exceptionally high level again. We actually met and with Mike DiGiovanni and Billy Stewart and I and Gary Jackson, and Gary thought it could be done, and the rocks could be rearranged, a couple of new flat rocks brought in to create a pathway, safe pathway down to the lake. And he felt that could be done in a day for less than a few $1,000s. If that's not deemed feasible, then the second best option would be to remove the rocks and put it back the way it always has been before the rocks were dumped. And now that the water level has subsided, that's doable. So my request is, the current situation is really hazardous and leaves the municipality quite vulnerable, I think. So it's got to be addressed. So to do nothing, I would not think is a good option to pursue. So the best option would be to make the access to the beach at County Road 15 safe so people can get through. And second best option would be to remove the rocks. So that is my request. Thank you kindly. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Drew, for that presentation. Questions from council? Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you very much, and through you, Chair. Is this an individual sort of type of action, or would this be what you would consider a community sort of wish?
It's a community. I spoke with the IDRA, Gar, and he's getting a lot of requests to reopen that access. That's been the primary access to Denver Huron Beach for forever.
Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I have a couple comments. Thanks for coming tonight. If you remember, in March of 2025, we were presented with a beach access points report by staff. I quickly tried to pull it up, but the computer's a little slow, and I don't know whether in the scope of that assessment it include Inverhuron. Councillor Blackwell is saying it didn't include this one specifically in here. So, like, I would be in favor of like referring this to staff to weave into an overall assessment of beach access points, because there was a project that was brought forward this year related to that work, and this should be considered in with the rest. The other thing I would say is there is a bit of a comparable on Saugeen Street at the end of Kingsway, where the situation you describe out there, I haven't been out there in a while, but there's also the access, there's a stormwater outlet kind of in play over there as well. And at the bottom of Kingsway, when the work was done on stormwater drainage in the Shevchenko Shakespeare area, they ended up having to, the berm I call it the berm, used to go all the way around, there were stairs that went over the top. But they had to take the stairs out and go in to do stormwater work. And when they came back and finished it all, instead of putting stairs back, they left an opening in the rocks down to the beach. So I'm not against facilitating beach access. I think it's an important part of why we live here. I just think that I don't want anyone to jump the queue, and we should put this into a little work on what we're going to open and when. So.
Which is what makes your referral to staff a really good recommendation. So there's two choices. We either just thank Drew and have a great night, or we refer this back to staff for a report, understanding on how it fits into the bigger picture of our beach access program. Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, I highly recommend what my fellow councillors said. We need to keep our access open at all possibility, right across the whole municipality. This is a prime example. This one would be one of the top 5, if not top 3. So I highly recommend, let's send it back to staff and get a report and take a look at it. Thank you.
Okay, Drew, thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate the concern you have for your community down there, and you'll be kept in the loop. It'll be a member of our staff that connects back with you to let you know what the path forward is, and might be calling on you for some input through yourself or through Inverhuron District ratepayers, just to make sure we're all on the same page here.
Okay, thank you.
We'd need like a mover and seconder that we refer that to staff for a recommendation. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Steinhoff Gray, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, now I'd like to welcome Nancy Shaw, CEO of the South Bruce Grey Health Corporation. With Council's concurrence, there is a lot of news and good news in this presentation. Is it appropriate to extend this for extra minutes to hear? This is a project the community has been waiting a long time for, and I personally don't want to rush through this one, so if it's okay by council, we can do that. Okay. Ms. Shaw, welcome. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Craig and Council, for the opportunity to provide an update on the redevelopment of the Kincardine Hospital site. I am joined here today with the Kincardine Hospital Foundation, huge supporters of this project, as well as the community as a whole. So the redevelopment stages that are required through the Ministry of Health consist of 3 different stages. And you can see with the highlighted star exactly where we are right now, and we're in stage 2, and that's part of the detailed planning process. So we're working through contract documents at this time. The final stage, moving on to stage 3, is where we would move into awarding of contracts, and the construction would actually start, and of course finish at the end of stage 3. When we look specifically at the project timeline, where do we fall right now? So as of July 27th, we will have completed 60% of the contracts. So when I talked about being in stage 2 and we were working through the details of our different contracts, we will have 60% of them finished by July 27th and 90% finished by September 1st. Then the cost estimation based on those contracts should be completed by September 23rd. And we would then submit to the Ministry of Health for review and approval on September 30th. We hope by December 28th, given that enough timeline has gone past from September to December, that we would be able to go out to tender at that point with the approval from the ministry and move forward with award of the contract for construction in April. And we would have shovels in the ground early spring of April 2027. So very exciting for the community. And construction and project closeout would take us to January of 2030. Oops. There we go. So when we were reflecting and discussing the interior design for the hospital itself, a big part of Kincardine is its Scottish heritage. So when we're looking at color palettes, color impacts our environments, and we know that especially in healthcare. And it's important to have calming colors, soothing colors, relaxing colors for our patients. And with the tartan in mind, as you can see highlighted on the screen, this is where we came up with the different colors that we will see throughout the presentation today that will be through the different areas. So the first one is medical imaging, so that's all of diagnostic imaging. And that area would be blue, so it's the blue highlighted area. And blue is also a very soothing color. And very calming. And in the emergency department, that is the green area. And green, and with all the natural light and the wood that you will see throughout the presentation today, also presents a very calming environment as well. And then the laboratory environment is the lavender that you see on the slide deck. And again, it's when it's paired with the colors of the environment and the wood and the light, is also has a very calming and welcoming effect. So when we look at the site plan, you'll notice the red dotted line that runs through this slide, if you can see it. That is where the current building currently is. So you can see the difference with the new build and the size difference of the expansion that will actually happen. So again, when we look at the colors, the medical imaging is in the front, emergencies behind it, and then lab services. And I'll go through these in a little bit more detail in the next few slides. But you can see on the right hand of the slide, the entrance, that would be the new main entrance. And then you can see on the bottom of the slide another entrance, and that's a separate entrance for the emergency department. So a bigger look when we consider parking. You can see where the larger parking lot is located. That's closer to the main entrance. And then you can see at the bottom of the screen how we have a drop-off for the emergency area, as well as some accessible parking there as well. But it allows that flow through from a parking perspective and car movement that does not have any blockage. It allows that constant movement. We do have some gardens and some landscaping plans around the outside, which you can see at a very high level what they will look like. But it will be a big change when you come up and you see at the top of the hill from what you see right now. So when we look specifically at the main entrance, so this is where the majority of everyone is going to walk through. You can see what it actually looks like. There will be signage that's not here right now, obviously, so it may look a little plain, but there will be additional signage that indicates it's the main entrance, and this is where you will walk through the front door. This is the emergency entrance, so if you visualize going around the corners of the main entrance, and you can see it's a closer look at the drive-through and the doors there. So that garage you see to the left is the ambulance entrance. So it allows a separate entrance for the ambulance as well that goes directly into Emerge. So when we look at the front of house, as we call it on the diagrams, it's the main entrance. So you can see how you walk through the door of the entrance, and immediately as you come through, there's a waiting area. There's patient registration to your left, And then you can continue on through the hallway. You'll see that there's wheelchairs, there's public washrooms, there's the gift shop. And then on the left, you'll see the donor wall, the greeter desk, the foundation offices. On the right will be the lab, and on the left will be medical imaging. And again, I'll give you another view on the next slide. So the outdoor court this is a new location that's right beside the front entrance, and it's just a nice space where you'd be able to sit, either for staff or for families and patients as they're waiting. You can see that there's a natural light that will come through as well, and this is a theme that goes out throughout the hospital that really will have a nice, bright, open space that's very natural looking and very calming. So this is the main concourse. So this is what you'd see if you were walking through the front door. So to your left is the patient registration area. As I indicated on the other diagram, as soon as you walk through the door, it's to your left. And again, this is very plain looking. There's no signage or anything in it, but you can see the wood interior. The wood ceiling, you can see the natural light that will be flowing through those open windows that are very high, but it's just that nice, wide, bright space that allows for easy movement of patient flow and outpatient appointments as well. And this is the view from the other way. So if you were looking outside, you can see the gift shop to the left, and you can see the gentleman at the end of that picture. He's headed out the door. So you can see the windows, and you can see how much more light there is with the new addition. So when we look at medical imaging, again, there's the main entrance at the top of the screen. You can see that from the red dotted line that I showed you on the other slide, how much more it's expanded, and part of that is the MRI. So you can see that where the MRI is located to the bottom left of the screen. That MRI will not only serve Kincardine, but will serve the broader region as well. So it's going to be a welcome addition for patients to have access to that type of treatment modality. And you can see that the actual medical imaging department itself has expanded with more space. We do have service demands that we have to keep up with as well, and you can see that we continue with additional ultrasound room. We have MRI and mammo as well, and X-ray. So you can see CT will stay exactly where it is right now, so CT doesn't change because that area has already been established and not that long ago, which has been a welcome addition as well. So CT stays exactly where it's located right now. This is what medical imaging will look like from the outside. So when I talked about the blue color, this is what I mean. See I guess you call it a bulkhead, on the top there is blue. That will identify that you're in the medical imaging department. And you can see again that natural light and that wood finish that also makes it nice and bright, nice wide space. There's separate seating area for each department. So medical imaging will have its own waiting area, so will emerge. As well as the lab as well. And this is a view from the other angle as well. And again, it just shows you how nice and bright and bigger the space is. That certainly will accommodate patient flow and the volumes that we are seeing of patients as well. So the next slide is the emergency department. It highlights specifically, you can see the entrance at the bottom of the screen. It's kind of cut off, but you will come in that door. You'll see where the registration, there's a waiting room right there on the bottom of the screen. Registration is there, triage, and then you can see where the layout of the department goes. So there's exam rooms, there's specific safe room like we have now. There's also a specific bariatric room. We also have our trauma areas and our decontam room, which you can see at the left, which is critical to support Bruce Power. And we have a much wider space. We won't have that congestion that we currently have with the Emerge. The Kincardine Emerge is the busiest Emerge department out of all of our sites. So definitely they have a lot of patients, and the space is required. And I'm not sure if anybody's been in the Emerge lately, but it's pretty tight, so it'll be a welcome addition for sure. So this is what the emergency department layout would be. So with the green, again, at the top, separate waiting room. Those machines that you see in those pictures, those are self-registration kiosks. So they are available for patients who do want to use them. But we also have registration services available as well. And you can see that there's a mural on that side, on the one slide. And we're trying to incorporate that natural kind of Kincardine feel throughout the redevelopment, so there'll be more to come on that for sure. And again, this is the emergency department. This is the nurse's desk. And inside the actual department, again, you'll know where you are by the colors. It's easily identifiable, and again, it's a good picture. It shows the pillars that are wood covered and the doors. And again, just keeping that wood theme and that natural look throughout all of the areas. So lab services and food services. So lab services is just when you come in through the hallway. That's the main hallway on the bottom of the door. So if you're an outpatient, when you come through the main entrance, you're going to have medical imaging on one side and you're going to have the lab on the other side. So it's immediate access. You don't have to go all through the hospital. It's right by the main entrance, and then it backs onto Emerge. Back of house on that slide, sorry, I hit the button too fast there. That refers to like our loading dock. That's where our garbage goes, our soiled linen, that's a storage area, so that's part of the process as well. And the other part to the left upper screen, side of the screen, is the current area that won't be redeveloped in this phase, but it's pharmacy, and then it expands onto the inpatient unit. There we go. So there's pictures. I know some of you have had a look that are located at the back of the room here. And I do encourage you after the meeting, if you're interested, please take the time, have a look. It's pretty exciting. And we're looking forward to the redevelopment of our hospital. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the slides.
Thank you, Nancy, for that presentation. Certainly the community is excited with the progress that's been made, the tremendously hard work that the foundation has done in just being this close to the goal. So there's a lot of encouragement to continue to participate in that fundraising effort. So council members, any questions, clarifications? Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Good presentation. I'm very excited. The hardware looks great. I'm just sort of inquisiting about the software because I'm one of those orphans. How many doctors, this new emergency department looks pretty good. How many doctors per shift are we planning to facilitate?
So it would be the same as we're currently working with right now. So it's one doctor per shift in the Kincardine emergency room right now.
Bill, please.
Thank you. I'm a little concerned about that. You know, you just told us we had the biggest emergency department in the whole region. And you think one doctor can handle that? Or is that the only allotment that we have? Because we have about 2,500 orphans, we call them orphans, or misplaced, whatever you want to call them. So they're using their emergency department basically as their doctors. So is there any possibility of thinking about having two doctors on some of the more important shifts? I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
You have a beautiful hospital, we may as well use it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And it's a great question. And to your point about patients who do not have family doctors, you're right. They use the emergency department, not just in Kincardine, all over, because that's how they access care, and that's why it's so important. So we continue to monitor volumes of emerges all the time. And so we have backup physicians who will come in when things get congested, is maybe perhaps the best term. So we do have the ability to have a second on-call physician. But when it comes to physician staffing, I'm not the one that controls that. Actually, it's the physician group. So they will have a conversation and certainly change that staffing if they felt it was appropriate. But at this time, that's what is appropriate considering the numbers that we have from a volume perspective. And yes, Kincardine is the busiest emerge out of all 4 of our sites. But it's a physician conversation, not a hospital one. Yeah.
Councillor Blackwell, please.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you. I know there's quite a few of the fundraising team here as well from the board. One of the questions I have is about the redevelopment construction itself. How is that going to be phased to maintain the services, or how may they be impacted as we're doing the build out in a couple of years? Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So the actual phasing for the redevelopment that I presented today, we actually just started those conversations about where's the main entrance going to be while you're building the new main entrance. Where's the entrance going to be when you're building the new emerge? So we're just working through that right now. So once we have that all solidified, that'll be a big communication project for our organization in conjunction with the municipality as well, to make sure that the public knows of any changes that happen, because there will be several temporary entrances, temporary movement of departments, and it's important that we have that communication plan and ready to roll out next April. So that's a work in progress right now, but it's something we're acutely aware of.
So I understand that there's another esteemed speaker who wants to talk a little bit. So I'm going to invite Murray Elston to come to the microphone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'm here just to give you an update on where we are at the fundraising. As you know, we were originally going to be fundraising $12 million. That was before we got the MRI added. We are now at the sum of $14.5 million. So we're doing very well, but we still need that 3.5 to close it off before we get to April of 2027. Just as a matter of interest, we've had about 161 donations, and I say about because it's evolving. The numbers move on us a little bit. Of the 161, 99 are individuals, and those people have brought forward about $4.5 million for us. So it's a really good, strong community investment in our project. Needless to say, we have had great cooperation from businesses and municipalities like yours to put us where we are at this point. And we now are invigorating our door-to-door type contacts and seeing more individuals. In fact, Graham and I, with others, met to divvy up some calls this afternoon. So you may be on our list. I'm not sure as individuals, but we are not going to lose any time trying to make sure that we can close off the last $3.5 million. So any questions, I'd be pleased to answer.
Actually, we're going to move on a little bit and contravene our procedural bylaw. We are going to have a presentation of the municipality's big check. Apparently, there was a small check, actual check presented very recently, which is really good news. But I'd like to invite council members and Mrs. Shaw and the members of the foundation up into the horseshoe here. Which, clerk, please don't look. Please don't look at this, Madam Clerk. But we're going to invite you into the inner sanctum here to get a picture taken of the big check. So whoever all is part of that foundation fundraising team or whoever, you're welcome to come up into the horseshoe here. So it is my opportunity to give a big shout out to, of course, the South Bruce Grey Health Corporation, the foundation, but also our community members that have been so generous in supporting this fundraising effort. It is an enormous amount of money for a small community. We're so blessed to have great companies and individuals in our community that recognize and value the presence of not just a workable hospital, but a really nice new hospital that supports our community, but it also invites and attracts doctors into our community because there are the tools available here that they look for to practice medicine in a way that's appropriate for a growing, innovative community like this. So thank you so much to all the work you've done. Okay, we're going to move on now. We need a mover and seconder that council approve participation in the 2026 International Plowing Match and Rural Expo taking place September 22 to 26 this year in Walkerton. And further, the council amend the 2026 budget to authorize funding up to $25,000 from the Tourism Reserve Fund to support the design, production, and installation of a Municipality of Kincardine promotional exhibit and associated display materials, moved by councillors Kavanagh and Blackwell. Discussion. Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, this is coming from Bill Stewart, Councillor Stewart, Laurie. What's the next option? You know, this is a huge opportunity for us to show Kincardine, and we are a large farm community. I'd really, really like to almost take over a day, but I'm not sure if my fellow councillors feel that way. But is there anything else that we could do that would really increase our exposure to this? Is a huge show. I mean, you'll get a lot of people here. Help us out here. Tell us the next phase.
Through you, Mayor Craig. We're looking at this as an opportunity, working with the other area municipalities, the International Plowing Match, as well as the county. And so we are following in with the rest of the participants there, and it's going to be a great showcase for us, and we'll be able to reuse the materials that we would purchase through this, and increase our opportunities for future displays. This is the big show. This is pretty big.
So I think the part to highlight there is, like if the example that was presented in the package is what it is going to look like, it's going to be able to be used a lot of different places for a long time. So I think it's appropriately priced and good value for our money. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so the okay, so we do have an update for the Bruce Area Solid Waste Recycling Municipal Services Corporation business case. And our CAO, Ms. Wingrove, is going to present that. There is another session enclosed where we have some other items to deal with, but there is a part of this that is really appropriate for community to understand the changes that are going on as well.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, everyone. The report before you this evening is entitled the Bruce Area Solid Waste Municipal Services Corporation Business Case. And those of you who have been here for some while would recall that we have been part of BASRA since 1999 when we entered into a joint undertaking model with 6 of our fellow municipalities. Very recently, the municipalities engaged KPMG, and we have Ann Lindsay from KPMG with us this evening, and a couple of her colleagues on the line. Jason Lerner and Matt McLean will be joining us a little bit later on. And their role in this was to assess whether transitioning from that joint undertaking model that we've had for many years, it would be better supporting our governance, accountability, contractual, and operational requirements if we moved to a municipal services corporation. So what we're going to hear about a little bit later on are some of the principles of that joint services, or sorry, municipal services corporation. Moving forward, what we're asking council to do is to provide support in principle for the idea of a municipal services corporation, support the governance model for BRASRA that has membership from each of the member municipalities, as well as to independent and skills-based voting members. Shareholder powers, we'll get into some discussion of the shareholder powers. And finally, that we continue with the working group. Now, your Director of Development, Adam, has sat on the working group. I've been part of the CAO group, working on this with lots of support from KPMG. And we think that as we move forward through the next phase, it would be prudent to retain that working group while we work out some of the more administrative details and really get the Municipal Services Corporation background work to a place where we're ready to actually enable that corporation. There are no financial considerations before you this evening. I think the rest of the report is fairly self-explanatory. Again, the principles that have worked well for us up till now, where the 7 member municipalities were taking a joint responsibility and decision-making is a theme that you'll hear explored further in KPMG's discussion in closed session. I don't know if anyone has any specific questions on this right now. What we'll do, we'll go into closed session at the appropriate time. We'll hear the presentation from KPMG and hear from our legal advisors, and then when we return from closed, we'll be in a good place then to consider the resolution that's before you and vote. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Are there any notice of motions for this evening's meeting? So we have a couple of bylaws to consider this evening. The first one is we need a mover and seconder that the Kincardine Classics Gymnastic Club Agreement bylaw be deemed to be read a first, second, third time. Finally passed and numbered as bylaw 2026-077, moved by Councillors Stewart and Kavanagh. Is there any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. At this point, I would like to recuse myself, and I hand the chair over to Deputy Mayor Hinchberger for this next bylaw.
Thank you, through your chair. 7.2B, Kincardine Agricultural Society Agreement bylaw. I'm looking for a mover and seconder that the Kincardine Agricultural Society Agreement 2026 bylaw be deemed to be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed and numbered as bylaw number 2026-078. That be correct, Jen? 078? Okay. Moved by Councillor Stewart, seconded by Councillor Williams. Any discussion? Councillor Stewart.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I was part of the committee that actually tried to put these two groups together, and I must admit they worked very well. It was a difficult situation, so I'd like to thank both the agricultural and the gymnastic groups for coming together, make some concession, and it sounds like it's a win-win for everyone, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stewart. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is carried. There we go.
Yeah, sorry, Mike.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So we move on to the consent agenda, and items listed here are, of course, considered routine or enacted in one motion as the matters arising, and unless anyone would like to withdraw one or more for consideration either at this meeting or a subsequent meeting. Is there any council member who would like to have an item withdrawn for consideration? Councillor Stewart, please.
Thank you, and through you, 8.1AB, Soaring Eagles. We made a decision at the last council meeting. Just wanted to say, it looks like this thing is going to go, not sure, but there is some time element that will go to the tribunal, but that's got to be agreed to by the developer, and I'm not sure if we need to pass on any of that information to the public, or is the public okay? They're finally okay. Just wanted to tell you, it'll probably go to the tribunal, but no guarantee. Thank you.
Okay, so we need a mover and seconder that council approve the recommendations contained in the consent agenda dated July 8, 2026, and direct staff to proceed with all necessary administrative actions. Moved by Councillor or Deputy Mayor Hinchberger and Councillor Pranger. All in favor? And that's carried. Council general announcements. Councillor Williams.
No announcements.
Councillor Steinhoff Gray.
No announcements.
Councillor Kavanaugh.
No announcements this evening.
Deputy Mayor.
I have no announcements.
Councillor Monroe.
No announcements.
Councillor Stewart.
No announcements.
Councillor Pranger.
No announcements.
Councillor Blackwell.
I gotta do it. No, I wanted to just thank everybody that came out to the two recent open houses or community conversations we had, one last week on the Lagoon project and one yesterday on the affordable housing project. We had a great turnout for both, which is always nice to see. Additionally, I was just gonna, this is 2-in-1. I want to remind everybody to get down to Dunsmore Park this year. On Wednesday nights there's music and Sunday nights is sing along. And lastly, there's the Lighthouse Blues Festival this week.
And when does, like, spread out the Lighthouse Blues Festival announcement, when does it start?
So it starts Friday night. There is a free street festival all day on Saturday and some events on Sunday as well.
CAO? Okay. All right, we need a mover and seconder. The council move into closed session pursuant to Section 239 of the Municipal Act as amended for the purpose of considering the closed session minutes dated June 24, 2026, a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, and a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, or financial information that belongs to the municipality and its monetary value or potential monetary value, specifically BAS, Member Municipalities Municipal Services Corporation business case. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, specifically physician recruitment. Proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and a position plan procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, Bruce K. Holdings, Gary Street Development. Further, the council returned to regular open meeting upon completion. Moved by councillors Kavanaugh and Monroe. Discussion. All in favor? That's carried.